We initially started working on the roof, and we noticed there's some water damage in a few spots that ended up having to be scabbed onto and having plywood, filled in those areas.
When we realized how extensive the water damage was, we decided that we were going to just get a new roof. And the original roofing that was on our RV was the rubber roofing. It's kind of like the playground mats that they have at like public parks. And so that stuff was a lot initially heavier, and you're supposed to put like a coating on it once every year.
Yeah, every year you're supposed to do it, and I think it's good for like 7 or 10 years.
And then so our RV is 10 years old, and funny enough, when we bought the RV from the owner, who was not at all the original owner, but he gave us all the paperwork that originally came with it. So we actually found the original roofing company, and it was a long shot, but we contacted them to see if they were still in business, and they were. But they use a different kind of roof now. It's kind of like a thin membrane, and it's lighter, and supposedly
you don't have to do the yearly put on top of it. You
don't have to do a coat or anything like that.
I went ahead and I got an oversized one, so that way we can actually run it across the roof and then drop it down the front, because a lot of water damage ended up in the front of the RV because of some
where the creases were.
Yeah, where the creases were in the wood and at the roof where it actually met on top of it, and so the water was running down where there's a flange that runs across the front strip, and it was actually running down into underneath that flange, and you could tell there was a cure-all on it. So they put a bunch of caulk on it, covered it up as much as possible, tried to seal it up, but the water still ran down pretty much like a little waterfall underneath the little cracks.
Because the owner that we had purchased it from had gotten it from a dealership, and that was the fix that the dealership did, and it was still really crappy because we knew that there was still water damage and we were going to have to replace it. We knew it was extensive, but until we ripped everything off, we just decided that we didn't want to do this all over again, so we purchased the roof, and then that was how we came to the decision to redo the roof. We called up some dealerships. I want to say that the quote that they gave us to redo the roof on a 34.5
it was about $1,200 to $1,600. I think it either came out to just at $600 or just at $700, somewhere around there. So $600 to $700 for shipping and all the materials. And the place we got it from gave us everything we needed. So they gave us the glue, they gave us vertical caulk, and also horizontal, yeah, stuff that flat surfaces and the stuff where we had to put it on the edges, because you had to do the flange around the outside of it when you're done.
And we used the original aluminum pieces.
So when we take it off, there's actually an aluminum flange that runs around the outside like it's holding the rubber mat to the roof, so it kind of just seals up against it. And I just kept that and used the original instead of just getting new ones, because it was still good. It's just aluminum.
Yeah, it kind of sucks scraping the beetle tape because that stuff just sits on there, but we had to do that to the roof, and we had to do that to the actual pieces before we put them on. Okay, so let's actually get to the installing part of the roof, which is kind of a funny story because we totally did it incorrectly. We did not follow directions that it came with, and it was July, it was like the middle of the afternoon, and it was just a disaster. So what you're supposed to do is take the material, fold it over, glue it down, put it down, glue the other half, and it came on a roll, so we were thinking, why don't we just glue it and then roll it out? Well, we got all the way to the very end and realized that the material was rolled onto the tube crooked, which is why you're not supposed to do that. So then it became a really terrible experience where we had to rip it off. It was like duct tape getting stuck together because it was super hot that day. We had 3 people working on it. I absolutely think that you need at least 3 people to do this job, and probably scaffolding. Like, it seemed really dangerous just having one set of scaffolding and then one ladder, but I really feel like you need scaffolding on both sides, because I thought he was gonna die. So what they started to do was rip it off, and the glue, when it went down, was kind of like Elmer's glue. It was like super slippy, but it became like cement when it started to dry in the heat.
And it was hot, so it dried really quick.
His shoes got destroyed, like it stuck to the rubber bottoms of his soles and just completely destroyed his running sneakers, which he should have just been wearing work boots, but
whatever.
Oh well. His dad was there, and his dad's generator mechanic was here, and poor guy got roped into this whole process.
He helped us out.
Yeah, he helped us out. It was an experience. What happened was they had to unstick it and then re-glue it, and then they had to get all the bubbles out, and they were unsticking it. When we finally got it down, the bubbles did in fact smooth out, even with the entire disaster we did, so that's good. It's a little bit forgiving. I feel like if you had the same experience as us and it was not as hot, it's hard to mess up in that kind of way, I guess, because if we messed it up...
Just follow the directions that are given, because this is not one of those things where you're like, I can do this.
No.
You can, but you'll struggle.
And
so we don't want you to struggle. And you might fall off the roof when you're struggling because it's high up there.
Yeah.
So make sure you try to do your best. Follow the instructions. They know what they did when they sent it to you, and they were hoping that you'd follow the instructions when they sent it to you. So make sure you do that. We're supposed to run long, fold in half, really lay the glue down, fold it down, fold the other side over, lay the glue down, and then you're done.
Would have been a much simpler and safer process.
And would have probably taken half the time.
So after that process, get the original aluminum stuff, the aluminum, and then put
the flange that goes around the outside.
Yeah, and
you run the beetle tape on the inside of that flange, and then you'll just peel the beetle tape off. And it's good to have a couple people doing that, or have something to be able to stabilize it on, because it'll fall down while you're screwing it. So you want to have somebody hold it because it's a long piece. And then you just screw it in, and then as the actual beetle tape, when you screw it in, will mush up against the actual wall and what you're screwing into, so it kind of seals it, gives it a watertight seal, so you have no leaks from the screws you put in the side. And
after you screw it, there is tubing that you're supposed to run on the inside to protect the screws so that doesn't get...
It's like a vinyl strip that just covers the actual heads.
And then there's like little gutters that go on the end, which I totally recommend because we're in Florida, and now that it's a couple months later...
I did not put them on.
No, we did not.
And now there's green stripes running down the side.
There's lots of algae.
So
we look
use
like,
those.
It looks like a 10-year-old's RV now on the outside. So we're gonna have to scrub that down because we did not do that. So that's still on our to-do list. So one of the things that we did do that the manufacturer did not recommend, well, it's not that they didn't recommend it, they just didn't suggest it, is we ended up running tar tape.
And it's used for windows. When you have like a flange on a window that goes up against it when you're doing like vinyl windows or aluminum or something, and you lay it on the outsides and then you lay it across the top, so the way it keeps a nice watertight seal all around it. And we ended up going around the actual, before we put the roof down, we put it up against the top corners where the wood was exposed, and we made sure each edge around the entire RV was actually covered in this tar tape. It's aluminum tar tape.
We found that,
and then we put the roof down.
We found that most of our water damage was happening at where seams meet, so we just decided that we were just going to seal it off. And we've totally been through tropical storms. Like, they were hurricanes, but then they turned into
Hurricane Erica turned into a tropical depression.
Yeah, like just a lot of rain. We've gotten a lot of crazy rain here, like this summer.
And the walls are off, so we know there's no leaks.
Yeah.
So you can see the walls.
It is solid.
So we're good there. We know they're not going to have any water problems, no invasion of the water, so we're happy.
Which we're really, really happy about that.
Okay.